Hi and welcome back to IT Pasanga YouTube channel. In this demo, we are going to learn how we can set up multiple environment for our web API. Not only for our web APIs, so we can apply this for any .NET projects. So we can learn and test the different environment locally before we moving to the production. So we can create different kind of environment in our local setup, and we can check how our app behaves on or react on different kind of environment. That is the goal of this demo. And so what kind of benefit we can get using when we set up in different kind of environment. Without a benefit or without a use case, we are not going to do, right? So what kind of benefits, what are the use cases that we can gain from this setting up different kind of environment in our application? Let's see. So before that, first we need to run the application and see how our application react for different kind of environments. So if we start our application, we will get this because I have a breakpoint here. So always it hits this line number 107 and 8, because by default our app is for this particular profile, event scheduler profile. So we have seen this inside the launch setting earlier days. So inside this event scheduler project, so this is our profile. That profile is set to the environment called development. So so as of now, as per the current configuration and current code base, so when we run the application on a developer mode, that is debug mode. So let me explain that part as well. Come to later this. If you see, let me stop. So if you see in our Rider or Visual Studio, we will have two options, one for debug and another one for run. So if you want to run your application without any breakpoints, just a smooth run, you can select this run mode. If you wanted to debug your code, so you want to see how our app code behaves for different kind of scenario, for you want to check the logic of behavior of some certain code, you can have a breakpoint there. So breakpoint is the place where your app will be stopped or pause for a moment until we resume or continue it. Okay, for an example, you write some code, you wrote some code and you want to check how it behaves for this kind of certain input and what kind of expected output we are giving and getting. So this kind of scenario, you can have a breakpoint there, and when you run the app in the debug mode, if that particular logic actually called in the use of that particular place, you will hit that breakpoint and you can see the behavior of that particular code. Make sure that if you when you run the application, that particular logic actually if under use only, you will hit that. For an example, so we have many controllers here. So error controller, event controller, and speaker controller. For an example, if you have a breakpoint in the speakers controller, and so you are in your application in Swagger or any Postman, you just try to get all the events. That scenario, app logic never used that speakers controller code. So if you have a breakpoint there, it won't hit. But if you have a breakpoint for event controller and you try to get some events using an API call, that time it may hit. That means if the particular code is under use. So make sure that we should be very clear about this. So if you want to debug your code, so currently that we are going to do, so we have to have one breakpoint here, and let's run the application. When we run, you see here we have seen, you see this arrow mark with yellow, then now it's purple. So we are returning to an unexpected response that says refuse to connect because our app is not completely run. So it's in the program CS itself, it's stopped now because we had a breakpoint here. So that condition, it says it's if it is development environment, check for this condition. So our app currently in a development environment. If you see event scheduler profile, we can see that environment set to development. Therefore, that app hits that particular environment. So let's see how we can add different profiles with different kind of environment, and how we can get benefit of this. So now if you see here, I just stopped it. Okay, so if you see here in the event scheduler area, so I just try to, let me delete it and start from beginning. All right, so we have that this is for event scheduler profile, run and debug. For if we have many profile, we can have that option separately. All right, so if you want to go to the edit configuration, here itself we can add a new launch setting profile, or there are many other configurations also we can add using this GUI. And if you see currently, we can see that launch profiles. So currently we have only two. One is IIS Express that will be used on Windows PC, so default internet servers from Microsoft Windows. And so second, another one is event scheduler, that what we have created. So I would always recommend, please use launch setting JSON for creating the profiles or any kind of configuration. We never I would recommend to use the code, because if you see this interface, if you are new to the JetBrains, that means rider, you will feel unfamiliar. If you are on Visual Studio, you will see totally different configuration interface, but that actual purpose and use cases are same, but the different GUIs. So if you familiar with the coding, so that's if you always practice to configuring the application using launch setting JSON, app setting JSON, that will be very benefit you if you run on any IDE or any environment, any development place or any operating system. You can easily do it because that code is same for all the place. So if you open Visual Studio, you can see this middle of the title bar. You may see that run and debug mode. There will have drop down for profiles. You need to select the new profile, and you can have option to add that profiles by using GUI. But what I'm gonna do is, we will do it from code. This help you all much. So now let's copy this profile. So if you see, I already showed in the GUI as well. We have two profile already, event scheduler and IIS Express. Obviously for Mac we can't use IIS. So here, so make sure that you should give a different name for different profiles, otherwise it will so warning here. So now we have development environment event scheduler, but I'm going to create a new profile for production. So let me add the naming for production event scheduler. Okay, so you can put whatever the name you want. I just put like this, and production. Okay, so we can make sure that launch browser true and launch URL is Swagger. Okay, so make sure I'm going to remove this part, so you can so let me, so you may notice I don't want to I'm going to remove this Swagger URL, because so since if we have same configuration, we don't have a way to differentiate the different environment. Okay, so we sure that for the development environment we use event scheduler. This particular profile contain launch URL to, and it should be redirect to Swagger, but our production one not going to redirect to Swagger. and it would recommended one. So when you make sure that for the production, not everyone recommended, not good for exposing your API endpoints through the Swagger for production, because that used for the development purpose. So you can keep like this. I'm gonna change the environment to production. Okay, now you can see new profile listed here. Let's run the application and see how our app would works. You can see still the breakpoint here. I selected the new profile, production and event scheduler, or debug mode. Okay, okay. The web page is not found and we are getting the 404 error. So normally any API that any .NET API, if we are not configured for Swagger, this is how our page looks like. Okay, so it says 404 error because we don't way. This is the way we have to call like this. Okay, so this is how we have to then we have to use our endpoints to, for an example, API events, then what is the endpoint? I can't remember the endpoint. Events 7131 API events. Likewise, okay, so we can use that endpoint to work on that. So now if you see here, our app didn't hit this place. If you see, it's running. Okay, so because since we define this particular profile, we define the production environment. So by default, since the development is not its development environment, so it didn't hit that one. Okay, so let's stop and run it again for production environment, development environment. So this time, so this time we are hitting this breakpoint, because that particular this time we are getting this error because it hits the place. If you see, it is on push, and we hit that place. So now we have understood that we can create different environment in our application that help us to do different configuration for in launch setting. So for an example, for the same application, if you have different environment like staging or production or QA, so you can select different profile based on your URL. You have to add your for an example, if you are working on a development, obviously that should be local host. If it is production, you can add the production URL here, and likewise QA or staging, anything if you want you can add. This is the one main use case of having environment. And also we know, right, for development environment we should have some different configuration like Swagger UI and some other configuration that should only use for the development purpose. In the production we should have different kind of configuration that will be only needed for the production. So we never expose any internal logs or information to the production environment. So this is the basic idea about for launch setting with the help of different profile. Now let's see what are the other benefit we can get by having a different environment. That's the main place we have to talk about the app setting JSON. So if you see app setting JSON, okay, in the app setting JSON, so you may see the configuration like JWT token and DB connection string and some login. So if you wanted to have different environment with connected to different databases, for an example, production DB and staging DB and local DB. So you can have different JSON file for each different environment, and there you can have different DB connections, and also the JWT token. So we know that the secret key that will help us to create different kind of token for different kind of environment. So if you put different token, that means different secret key for different environment, so you will get totally different keys for each environment. That would be another protection layer for our system. So if someone get the staging token, they can't use that same token for production environment. So this is one scenario we can get benefit. Let's see how we can create different kind of environment. I'm going to, okay, there are many ways. Then let me try to copy this and paste here. So it's asked enter name of the new copy. So I'm just production.json, app settings.production.json. So yeah, I want to add this obviously to git. All right, so make sure we can have these settings. So some project you may list it in different hierarchy. So if you just move it to under the app setting JSON, then it will be listed as a sub file. Okay, now we have production JSON, development JSON, and app setting JSON. I'm going to remove the JSON configuration from app setting JSON, and I'm going to add those into so development JSON and the production JSON. All right, for the production JSON I'm going to add some different key. Okay, now we know that this app setting production JSON have a different secret key, and the development JSON has a different secret key. And you know, right, these things will be consumed by program CS JWT configuration, where I takes that issuer signing key that will be taken from your configuration files JWT secret. So if you see here JWT secret, so here we have JWT secret. So based on the environment that we have select that through the profile, that will react for different tokens. Let's see, run the application now. Okay, resume it again. Okay, we have two breakpoints. Resume it. So we have two breakpoints, therefore we have hit 2 times. Okay, so now our app works. If you reload it, okay, it's all good. And come back to Postman. Try to guide to. All right. So now our events getting all the events endpoint works fine. So we have previously authorized token. Okay, now come back and stop and select the production profile and run the debug mode again. So this time let's see how this response comes. We are getting unauthorized because previously we have used development environment. We took the token here from authentication mechanism, where we used development environment secret key, because that time we have connected to the development environment. So based on that app setting development JSON settings JWT secret key, it has generated a different token. But now we have connected it to the production environment, so it will check for that particular token with this production JSON secret key, but it won't be matched because it's totally different from that. Therefore we are getting unauthorized access. Okay, So this is a place. If we wanted to have totally different configuration for different environment, we can get that benefit using the app setting production JSON or staging JSON or development JSON as per your requirement. So these are the other benefit that we can have out of using different kind of environment. Okay, when we go for a enterprise level application based on their company requirement and their architectural and their standard, so they might have different environment like development, production, QA, and make sure that we should know which environment, which kind of configuration we have to do, because the development environment that should be under control, under our control. But when it comes to production and staging environment, we should limit that exposing our internal detail to the those kind of environments. So that should be very concerned about that. As a developer, it's our responsibility to make sure that we are not exposing any internal detail to the production, to the public. All right. Okay guys, that's all about this demo. So we have learned how we can add different profiles inside the launch setting JSON. I would recommend to use this code launch setting JSON profile file instead of going for the GUI. And we have seen how we can add different profile for different environment. So we can have the different profile with the same environment as well. So we can create a new environment called dev2 for an example, and the environment may contain the same environment like development, or else we can create different environment. So for each environment we can have different profiles. So this is one use case. And another benefit that with the help of different environment we can configure our app setting JSONs for different purposes like different database or different JWT token mechanism. There are other libraries, dependencies. If we can specifically wanted to use for particular environment, we can have that as well. So these are the benefit of having different environment in our ESP.NET Core Web API project. That's all guys. See you all at another video. Have a nice day.